There are plenty of accessories that you can put on to make people look twice at you, whether it be a shirt that's a very bright color or has some crazy design on it, or a really nice eye-catching watch, or a great new fresh pair of shoes, having a cool hairstyle, many things that you can do to kind of give you that edge to set you apart a little bit. One thing that I think people may not think of enough, at least people that aren't in the fragrance community, is your actual scent, your signature scent, your cologne that you're wearing for that day. That sometimes can be even more effective than those visual things that I was just talking about. So if you're wanting to get some more attention your way and you want to wear a scent that is going to captivate people and make them want to get a second smell, this is going to be the video for you. I will drop links to all of these down below today. If you want to pick any of these up for yourself, you can do so there and save a little bit of money off a retail price. I've got a mailing list you can sign up to as well. If anything in this video is out of stock right now, a little bit hard to get, anytime something like that comes back into stock, I send out an email, which gives you a chance to be able to pick it up before it does sell out again. A lot of times these things go really quick, some of those rare hot items out there. So if you are on the hunt for some stuff like that, sign up at the link down below. We'll actually start off with a brand new release of this year, PACO Rabanne 1 Million Royal. And so this one already hit discounters, which is pretty cool to see. Fragrance By got these in for a pretty good price. I think $95, $94, 100 ml, somewhere around in that range, which is pretty cool to see already. It's got benzoin, cardamom, patchouli, and cedarwood in here. Fantastic flanker. I've already done a first impressions on it a little while back. You can watch that video and experience it with me in real time. And the more I've worn it since then, the more I've really started to like it and enjoy it even more. I thought off the beginning initial spray, when I first smelled it, it was really good. You do get that patchouli kind of chocolatey gourmand smell, some of the benzoin in here. A fantastic scent with a little bit of a cardamom, warm and spicy twist as well. This one turned out pretty good, I think. And the way the brand is going with this line, and even like Invictus, they're discontinuing a lot of them to make room for more releases every year pretty much. I mean, we got a new Invictus this year as well, so that type of thing is going to happen. 1 Million Lucky, Privé, and things of that nature have been discontinued, and more to follow. But they are coming out with some really good stuff, and this is one of them. And it's a great head turner, people pleaser. You know, it's just one of those things that works really well. Nice one to check out. This next one is one of those scents that can be a little bit hard to get. It's just a supply chain issue, or very well could be discontinuation. It's really hard to say because with this brand, they have another scent, which is also a parfum, to give you a hint. That's very similar with its kind of stocking behavior, where it's actually not discontinued, but the US availability is pretty much non-existent. This is DIOR Fahrenheit Les Parfums, and of course what I was talking about there was DIOR Homme Parfum. So that one's not discontinued. This, I don't know if it's a similar deal, or if it is, it's just, who really knows? The brand will never give anyone a straight answer, so we'll just have to see, I guess. With that being said, this one will pop up on discounters from time to time. Recently, Joma Shop got some of these bottles in just a week or two ago, so it's not like it's super rare and you haven't been able to get it for months. Had it for like $102 for 75 ml, which is about on par with what they've always gone for. Now this one has vanilla, but it also has the signature violet leaf accord in here. There's some suede and a nice boozy rum accord. Fantastic. Easily one of the best Fahrenheit flankers. I'll pick this over the original any day. It's just a sweeter, warmer, more interesting take on that DNA with a nice boozy twist. Fantastic stuff, and definitely worth keeping your eyes peeled for and trying to secure at some point. Worst case, you buy it and you don't like it, you can just resell it and get your money back, because this one is very hot. It's in high demand. People want it. If you get on that mailing list, as soon as it becomes available, I'll shoot you an email over and you can pick one up for yourself. Actually, following a similar note, this next one is a little bit odd sometimes as well to pick up. MUGLER Angelman. Now, this one you can get usually for around $70, 100 ml. They retail for, I want to say, closer to 100, but this has been around for a long time. Most of you probably have a bottle of it already, so no issue there. But if you don't, it's another one that is worth potentially checking out. It's got coffee, patchouli, and caramel in here, and in all fairness, there's a ton of other notes as well, but those are the most prominent ones to me. So really it is all about the coffee, patchouli, kind of chocolatey gourmand feel, the caramel of course, but there's all other stuff in here as well, like a lavender, and with that some other aromatics, some woods going on. This one is ever so slightly animalic in the dry down, but nothing crazy. Off the top it smells great. There's just a lot going on to set this one apart and make it different at the end of the day. I think it's great stuff, and it's kind of has a little bit of a mixed feedback range on this one. Some people hate it, some people love it. Less people, I think, are in the middle probably. I think it's either you love it or you hate it, maybe with a few outliers that are just like, yeah, this is okay, but not my favorite. That's always going to be a thing, but very much a polarizing scent. For me, I am on the love side of things. I think it's fantastic and big head turner, people pleaser. At the end of the day, maybe you'll turn heads, maybe someone will hate it, but that's just part of kind of branching out and going towards a different style of scent. So, wear it with caution. Now, this next one I hardly ever hear talked about, but it's also been around for a long time as well. Can't place the date on this one, but it's a little bit old. Doesn't smell like it, but it has been out for a while. This is Ralph Lauren Purple Label. So this one's got blackberry, which is kind of a cool note, oak moss, sage, and coriander in here. So this one actually gets heavily compared to Bond No. 9 Bleecker Street, which is blueberry, not blackberry, but I do see the correlation there. Bleecker Street also heavy on the oak moss, and both of them smell blue, although not in a blue fragrance way, quite the opposite, but just very much a spring smelling scent, both of them. And also, I've talked about this before, but Purple Label came out first by a few years. So if there is any sort of correlation there, Ralph Lauren did it first. Personally, though, I think they are probably more different than similar. I think there's a lot of things that separate them and few things that maybe connect them together, but that's just my opinion. Ultimately, this one is classy to the extreme. It's elegant, it's upscale. It really is a unique and different wearing experience. And again, this gets lost in the sea of blue fragrances and aquatics and sweet scents. You just don't hear much about it anymore. But if you do want to stand out, this is going to be the way to go, because most people probably aren't going to be giving this one the time of day anymore. I really am a big fan of Armani Code Parfum. I think this was a great release, and I'm glad to see it. It's got tonka bean, iris, cedarwood, and some bergamot in here. So anytime they add iris to something, I'm almost officially going to love it immediately, and this one is no exception. Now, that being said, there is a right and a wrong way to do iris. I do think that depending on the scent, it could either be done in moderation and smell spot on, or if it's going to be the forefront, it's got to be done the right way as well. I have fragrances, a lot of which do it both ways. This one here, it's a little bit more in the background, a little bit more mild and subdued. A lot of the original Code DNA is really taking over first and foremost, all that tonka bean and even that bergamot off the top. The iris is just kind of a supplementary note to everything else going on, but ultimately that does give this DNA a nice modern refresh, and it makes it hold up better in 2023, whereas the original Code Eau de Toilette, which they have re-released, looking at a bottle just like this, it just doesn't really have the same magic as it once did, but the Parfum kind of brings that back a little bit. And it does smell great to a lot of people around you. It does have that mass appeal still, and it's a big head turner. Now we'll go over to something that's usually right around $45 to $50 for 100 ml. Ferragamo UOMO, just the original one here. Now this one has sweet notes. It's got tonka bean. There's a little bit of ambroxan in here as well. Some cardamom. Very sweet. No surprise given the main note that they feature is sweet notes. So be aware of that. With that said, though, this is the type of thing that just appeals to the masses. And it's kind of strange because you almost wouldn't think so. You know, when you smell it, it is so crazy sweet. It's like, man, you know, to the point where it's really not a masculine scent. I mean, this is not your traditional masculine smelling scent, although it is obviously marketed for men, given the name, but it just works really well. Same with UOMO Signature. These scents, for whatever reason, just do a great job. And again, it's more modern style. It's kind of what a lot of people out there in the public are used to smelling now, and it's just kind of something that works great. So you might as well just rock with it and stick with it until it doesn't work anymore, and then on to the next thing. But right now, this stuff still works great. Big head turner, big people pleaser. It also helps that it has crazy good performance, so it's kind of hard not to get noticed while wearing this one. You definitely don't need to spray too heavily unless you want to really be the center of attention big time. It wouldn't be hard to do with this one. So really, for about $50, your money goes a long way with this. You can get a lot of use out of it. Everyone knows, and a lot of people love, the popular EROS DNA by Versace, but one that you maybe don't always think of is Flame. At least maybe it's just me projecting that onto you. I could be the only one that sometimes forgets about this one, especially since not Code Parfum, but Eros Parfum came out. That's kind of been the one that occupies my mind the most when I think of an Eros. And yes, I do wear Eros sometimes, believe it or not. I'm not afraid to admit it. Maybe some people would. But again, it's the Parfum is what I wear. I don't really touch the Eau de Parfum. Actually never did touch the Eau de Parfum a lot. When that was out, I still reached for the Eau de Toilette more. But now that I have the Parfum, I don't reach for any of those. And sometimes I forget about Flame as well, more often than not. However, when I was putting this video together, I just happened to pick this one up. It's kind of hard to miss. Huge, giant red bottle. I smelled it again off the top, and I'm like, you know what? This is real nice. More citrus forward approach on the DNA, which I really like. There's some nice creamy orange. You get that tonka bean sweetness and things of that nature. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is still very much an Eros scent. No way around it. That being said, that creamy, sweet, and kind of not spicy, but citric bergamot freshness off the top smells fantastic. Real nice in the opening, great in the dry down. Great performer, big head turner. I mean, it just works. Okay, let's keep it moving with Carolina Herrera Chic. I want to say it's around $40, kind of your typical Carolina Herrera discounter price for things that aren't new or rare. You know, CH Men is kind of around the $45, maybe $50 range. Just kind of falls somewhere around in there. Not a whole lot to the presentation. I think that's actually kind of a detriment for this one. At least it was for me. I would always look at this and go, yeah, that does not look like any sort of an interesting scent. And I put it off for a long time. It's just, I mean, it's as plain as it gets. And when you get it in person, the cap is just a plastic. Everything's just square. Nothing cool or aesthetic about the bottle, but the scent is fantastic. So this one's got watermelon, it's got pepper, there's some cinnamon in here, kind of an interesting combination. You get this summery, fruity type of smell mixed with some warm spices. All of that put together, though, creates a pretty unique and interesting scent. Kind of in a similar vein to Abercrombie & Fitch First Instinct, although this one is more mature, more masculine, and more refined. I love First Instinct. I'm not dogging that one, but it's ultimately its own thing, but kind of in a similar ballpark if I had to compare it, because First Instinct has melon, not watermelon, but melon. It's got some woods, but then also a peppery accord, a kind of sweet concoction. Similar deal with this, but it's executed in a different way. That being said, it is unique. It does kind of stand on its own, and it's a scent that I just feel like is also a little bit underutilized these days. It just isn't your modern, trendy style, and I think that actually works in your favor. If you want to pull this one off, you will smell different and turn some heads. All right, running down to the end, second to last, we have a line that needs no introduction. However, this one in particular, I think, is the least popular by far. I've talked about it before. Sauvage Parfum. This one is kind of an interesting one. Sauvage Eau de Toilette, everybody knows it. It was one of the most popular scents of the year and then the years following after its release. The Eau de Parfum was also massive, because it was the first follow-up flanker to the Eau de Toilette, right? And so people were looking forward to it. We also got Cool Spray somewhere along in there. Might have actually even been before the Eau de Parfum, I can't remember. That did nowhere near as well. Obviously, it just isn't the same type of marketing, although underrated in my opinion. The Parfum, I just feel like wasn't as big, wasn't looked forward to as much. And then Elixir was massive because who was expecting Elixir? I know I wasn't. The last thing I was thinking of was another Sauvage, and so that one just went crazy, way, more popular than Parfum in my opinion. So the Parfum was kind of stuck in the middle where it just didn't get the same amount of attention. That being said, it is one of my favorites in the line. It's got sandalwood, bergamot, olibanum. You may notice there isn't a ton of ambroxan, there isn't a ton of lavender, there isn't a ton of pepper. And bergamot, it's creamier, woodier, and sweeter, and significantly more smooth. Even more smooth than the Eau de Parfum. Even more smooth than something like Prada Luna Rosa Carbon, which is a smooth version of Sauvage, essentially. I think this is great. It's more mature without being as mature as Sauvage Elixir. And compared to all of the others, it is just hardly used at all. Again, it's all relative to the others. And last up for this video, we have Le Male Parfum. This one does have some iris in here, which I'm a big fan of, but also a lot of cardamom, vanilla, lavender, that sort of thing. Really, I'm a big fan of this one. I think this and Ultra Male are currently two of their best works. There is a Le Male Elixir coming, hopefully this year, which I am excited about, and I hope it holds up. I think that if it does, it would be the trio, the completed trio. We have Ultra Male, Le Male Parfum, and then Elixir. So I'm hoping that one is good. We'll just have to see, right? If it's anything like this, just in its execution, and for that matter, even anything like Ultra Male in terms of just doing something a bit different and providing value, then I think it will be a big hit, but we'll have to see. But back to Le Male Parfum, this one takes the vanillic, lavender, aromatic feeling from the original, brings in some of that sweetness from Ultra, but then just kind of does its own little twist with the spicy cardamom note. Fantastic stuff. This is a Le Male flanker for someone who normally doesn't really care for the Le Male fragrances, in my opinion, because of how much value it does bring. Really nice stuff and a big head turner. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 fragrances that will make people smell twice when you walk on by. I will provide links to these down below to discounters so you can pick them up. And again, if any of these are out of stock, don't be upset. Don't be mad at me. Don't be, bummed out. It's not a big deal. They will come back at some point. If you get on that mailing list, I can almost promise you that as long as you have your email open and you check your email, you'll be able to get a bottle once they come in stock. Because if you're on that list, I will send you an email letting you know. They do sell quick, so make sure you're, just on your email throughout the day. Just periodically check, have your notifications on. But that will give you a really good chance to get some of these rare ones. So I'll see you over there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.